Good evening, Summoners, and welcome back to Game 2 of this final quarterfinal series between Azubu Taipei Snipers going up against Mineski. My name is Chris, and this time around I'll be joined by J-Stop right at the casting table. And J-Stop, what do you think of game number 1?
Well, game number 1, from the start to the end, was basically the Azubu Taipei Snipers show. From the start, they used very aggressive picks, and they completely blew Mineski out of the water from the start to the end, including a 17-minute Baron there.
Right, I think they just broke the record for the fastest Baron attempt in the Garena Premier League. And not to mention, man, it was a quick 20 minutes game. Mineski decided to call it quits after that. I think it was 21-minute mark, and then they decided to go for the surrender. And I think that's a wise choice for them as well, because they knew for the fact that the game was pretty much gone for themselves, and they wanted to just quickly regroup their morale, and hopefully they will be able to come out, somewhat formulate some strategies to kind of deal with against Taipei Snipers.
Once again, this is a best of 5, and that was game 1. So now we are moving on to game 2 down here. So in the best of 5, the first team to 3 will take the series.
That's right, it does look like it will be similar bans coming in from both teams right from the start. Taipei Snipers taking out that kill right off the bat, and for Mineski taking out that Rengar once more.
Well, Chris, the previous game we saw Mineski come in with some interesting picks there, including a Maokai jungle. Do you think Mineski will continue to surprise us in the pick ban stage here?
Well, I do hope they surprise us, because I think in the Wednesday game when Singapore Sentinels went up against HQ, we saw not only just one team, both teams brought in a lot of interesting fresh picks right off the market, and all those picks really just surprised us between me and Wolf, and I think that was a great game to watch.
Well, I for one am definitely hoping we see that Maokai again. Mineski picked it in the first game. They didn't really got to get their game going there. But Maokai is one of my favorite champions down there.
Oh.
He has been kind of like dropping off ever since Season 2 became Season 3. But now that we're moving on to pre-Season 4, could this be the resurgence of Maokai?
Well, if it is the resurgence of Maokai, then I think we do have a lot more environmentally friendly players who would love to see that happen. And there we go for Taipei Snipers. They have secured Silver on their end, and I think that's a very powerhouse pick right off the bat, the very first pick for them. And yeah, for Taipei Snipers going with the same bans in game number 1 that kill Annie and Shen, but for Mineski, they have switched up their bans just a little bit with the Rengar and the Lee Sin remaining, and they have decided to take away Dr. Mundo away from Taipei Snipers. So I'm interested to see how this will work out for them, and what Mineski will choose to respond to the silver pick that Taipei Snipers have.
Well, I actually think that it is very interesting that Mineski let the silver pick go uncontested once again. In the first game, the silver pick has... Wow, down here we see Volibear by Mineski being picked up down here. Chris, what do you think we will be seeing out of this Volibear by Mineski down here?
I think this Volibear should be going into the jungle, if I'm not wrong, but might go up into the top lane with the 3.14 patch. A lot of new things have been brought to the table, and I wouldn't be exactly 100% surprised to see that up in the top lane as well, but I mean, I would definitely love to see it in the jungle. And for Taipei Snipers, they are quickly hovering around, not too sure what they will pick for the jungler. Would they go for the Shaco pick? And that would be interesting. But Wins does look like he wants to default back to something that he's more comfortable in with that Elise pickup should he choose to lock it in.
Well, in this case, the Taipei Snipers know that they are the favorites coming into this game. So if they have a strategy that works, why change it? If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it, man. That's the rule of thumb in League of Legends. And are we gonna see that Nami being locked in for Taipei Snipers? Does look like it is going to be a Nami pickup, as what Wolf was saying in game number 1. He really wanted to see some of this supports with the changes in 3.14 come back into play, and I think Nami is just perfect for that. And there were some changes coming in, especially with the ebb and flow. With additional AP, now you can kind of move faster and boost your teammates faster with the ebb and flow charge. So I'm quite surprised. Oh no, I'm not surprised. I'm interested to see how that will work out for Taipei Snipers. And with that Nami pickup as well, so much more mobility coming in from Taipei Snipers. First you have On the Hunt, and now you have Nami. You can just speed people up as quickly as you can, take out objectives, and that just fits Taipei Snipers' playstyles all so well.
And let's not forget, Nami and Silver. Silver can reset her attack with the ricochet there. So if Nami drops her Tycaulus Blessing onto Silver, Silver can suddenly do this obscene amount of burst damage onto the opponent.
Obscene amount of burst damage. I like the way you phrase it, J-Storm. And it does look like Mineski will be thinking about their next two picks. It does look like we are going to see the Karma being locked in. I love that Karma. Possibly could go into the jungle as well, like we've seen in the European scene, Diamond Prox made famous. Or I think it's going to be a support Karma if I'm not wrong. But that's the beauty of this Karma pick, because you can eventually send it into the mid lane as well, as some players would like to do so. So I'm interested to see how this will pan out for Mineski. And for Taipei Snipers, looking over at their last two picks, might be the Shyvana and Ziggs being secured for them.
Well, it should definitely be the Volibear in the jungler, in the jungle there. But if they choose Volibear as a support, as an answer to Silver, I think that will bring about a very interesting bot lane.
Right, we might see Volibear as a support. That would be rather interesting, because for Volibear, you just bring so much to the table. You have that flip as well. You're able to be this meaty front liner for Caitlyn to kind of peel off as well. You just need to stand there, be that rock wall, and just let Caitlyn fire away. As we do see Taipei Snipers finally locking that in. It's going to be the Shyvana and Ziggs. And we do see the entire lineup for Taipei Snipers completed. And Mineski now are going to be considering what should be the mid laner for themselves.
So Taipei Snipers locking in the Shyvana and Ziggs. Shyvana and Ziggs, champions that they are all very familiar with. While on the side of Mineski, they are swapping things up a bit. Throughout the whole GPL, we saw Noel play a lot of Amumu, a lot of Nautilus. He likes those engaged, heavy, hook-centric champions down there. We saw Seth on a lot of Trash as well. But down here, they are swapping things up a bit. They are going for Karma, they are going for Volibear. Things they are not so comfortable with, but by going for these picks, because they know they are the underdogs coming into this game, they might want to mix things up and try and throw Taipei Snipers off their game.
Right, that's the thing about introducing new picks into the table as well, because every time you try to bring in new picks, sometimes you can really just catch your opponent off guard. And we've seen that work out in some of the cases. I think the most memorable matchup, I would say, for myself when I casted the game between HQ Esports Club against SF5 in the last season. SF5 brought in this entirely new matchup that nobody expected them to do. And because of that, they were able to beat out the hot favorites AHQ Esports Club back then. And I think that's what Mineski wants to do exactly in this matchup. It does look like Mineski will switch things up. It's going to be Orianna in the mid lane and Karma support down in the bottom lane together with Volibear in the jungle. I'm definitely loving this lineup.
So let's run through the lineups here on both sides down here. On the side of Taipei Snipers, Zondo and Shyvana on top lane, Wins on Elise in the jungle, next ABC on Ziggs in the mid lane, got JJ on Silver. Last game, he completely wrecked face. Will he do it again this game? And Mistake this time, picking the Nami instead of Tariq.
That's right, and this time around, let's compare a little bit of their team compositions. I think Taipei Snipers have a very, very mobile setup, coming in with the On The Hunt as well as Nami, like we were mentioning earlier. And now you complete that with the Shyvana. You're able to move around quickly with the Dragon's Descent, and with the Burnout Innate, you're able to kind of move around with the additional movement speed. And not to mention Wins. One of his favorite junglers, you know, you can't deny the fact that he has a lot of great games with that Elise pickup. That's going to work very well in favor for him. And next ABC, this time playing the Ziggs, he will be able to kind of manipulate the area of fight very effectively with the Satchel Charge and the Explosive Minefield. Whereas for Mineski, they have somewhat a mixed composition. They have some great pick-off potential coming in from Volibear, and with Karma, with the Talon as well, if you're able to just lock the person down to place, that will create some very good pick-off potential. And together with the Q coming in from Karma as well as Exo, who's going to be playing that Orianna, they can effectively just bring out an entire lane just right off the bat. One left, one right, and you'll be able to just maintain that lane control for themselves.
Well, down here, off the onset, looking at the picks and bans, I have to favor the Taipei Snipers team. This has been a composition that they are very familiar with. This is a composition that has been proven to work throughout the entire season. They've changed the choice of AD carries up for the new flavor of the month Silver here. So I think Taipei Snipers will have a one-up here going to this game. But unlike the previous game, I don't think we will see the Taipei Snipers shoving Mineski down the towers, but rather we will see a lot more dances around objectives with Taipei Snipers trying to use vision control And the moment they catch Mineski out of position, Silver will pop on the hunt, and Taipei Snipers will come crashing in to pick up the sweep.
That's right, and I won't be surprised to see Taipei Snipers just go for what they're so comfortable with, to try to go for early group ups and go for those early dives, and then eventually picking off the objectives off from them. And they do have the kit to do so. They have so much mobility, and there's a lot of pressure on the side of Noel, the jungler from Mineski. He needs to kind of respond to what Wins is bringing in stall for them, because right off the bat, right at the start for game number 1, we saw Wins zero in onto Exo, and because of that, Exo was brought so far behind that he wasn't able to do much with his Ziggs pickup. And this time around, it will be Exo playing the Oriana, and all the important it is for Noel to kind of support him, make sure that he's able to transit into the mid game in a more comfortable manner.
While Volibear definitely might not have the same amount of gank potential as Vi, Volibear still makes a very strong ganker together with Oriana. Let's see if Mineski can pull off the same amount of success they did when they had the Oriana versus Ziggs matchup in this case.
That's right, and I think the good thing about having a Oriana and the Volibear, this duo combo, especially in the mid lane, is that you can kind of bring the ball onto Noel and then spit him up with the dissonance. And when the Volibear goes on all fours, you know that it's gonna be serious, man.
Snowy also makes a very good ball carrier there with the Renekton. He can dash in, and the command shockwave can also make him a very good ball carrier in that case as well.
That's right, so let's see how this will pan out for Mineski, and it's important for them, and I say that to all the teams who are playing all this best of 5 series. If you drop again, you need to make sure that you keep your morale high and make sure that what happened in the previous game don't affect you. This is a completely new game. You need to refresh your mentality, make sure that you have a fresh mindset coming into this one. And it is very important for you to do so and not be, kind of dominated by the opponent's aggression. Because of that, you'll just let your opponent have one hand up against you. So it's going to be up to Mineski to maintain their cool, to crawl themselves back into this game number 2.
Speaking of that, I want to talk about pressure a bit down here. The Taipei Snipers, they're coming to the favorites. As the favorites, they will always have a lot of pressure on them to beat whoever they are facing. But in this case, Mineski down here, they don't have so much pressure on them to beat the Taipei Snipers. The Taipei Snipers are already the favorites. So maybe this is why we see Mineski swapping things up so much and going with such new picks and weird compositions down here.
That's right, and the thing about new picks is, like we always say, even though it might be a surprise element that you might want to try to bring out against such a hot favorite team, the other concern for them is that have they done enough practice on it? I mean, they have picked it up for themselves, so they have to really make it work for them.
I guess that is always a trade-off when you pick up unfamiliar things. When you bring an unfamiliar thing to the table, you will be less, as much as your opponents will be less experienced in dealing with it, you will also be less experienced in executing it as well. So this sometimes leads to extremely scrappy games here. But against the Taipei Snipers, I think scrappy is not enough for Mineski to throw them off their game here. They need to pull off amazing.
Right, they need to pull off amazing indeed, and we might see Zonda and Snowy balling it out in the top lane. And once again, we see a reminiscence of the 3.13 start for these two top laners, as Zonda with the banner will take on a huge amount of damage away from Snowy. And I think Snowy will be happy to just back off and get some more health to come back into lane.
But nonetheless, with the two top laners seeing each other in the tri-brush over there, both teams should get a rough idea and can guess where the other team is positioned about now. They should know that neither team is looking to invade into the opposing team's jungle, and that they can take their own buffs in peace.
Right, precisely. And once again, Taipei Snipers going for a very aggressive start, and I think they correctly predicted the fact that Noel will be going for the blue buff, so they will go ahead to maybe try to take away the red buff away from Mineski. Will they actually choose to respond to it? Does not look like that's going to be the case, and it might be a free red buff for Taipei Snipers, but there is that one ward to spot out their action should they try to go in for it.
You know, I want to talk about the trinkets here a bit. We see on both sides here, almost everybody has the warding totem, except for one person. Elise there has got the sweeping lens instead. I think sometimes if you reveal to your opponent at the start that you have a sweeping lens, especially as a jungler, the opponent team can pick up on this and say that, you started sweeping lanes, we are going to expect more ganks from you instead.
Right, but in that sense, Win's making full use of that sweeping lens just to clear out that trinket ward that Snowy was able to place down, so they will not be able to correctly determine the rate buff timer, and I think that's a lot of advantage. And there we go with the two-man Aqua Prism now landing onto both TG and Set, and now got JJ putting on some hurt onto Set there. Does look like Set will have to back off from that one and popping the total biscuit of rejuvenation as well.
I think that was a bit careless there by Mineski. They should know that these matchups, who trades better. By this point of time, they should know who trades better in the level 1 engages by now. So choosing to go in there and take the trade-off on the take the trade-off Karma and Kaylin versus Nami and Silver, I don't think that was very smart there by Mineski.
That's right, and you have to give it up to Mystic, man. That two-man Aqua Prison, and with that amount of accuracy, I think Set and TG has a lot to fear for down in this bottom lane.
Now I want to talk a bit about the bottom lane matchup down here. Earlier we mentioned that Nami, when she gets the Dark Color's Blessing, with the reset of the attack on Ricochet, they can put out lots of damage down here. So the question is, with this Karma support, will they be able to match the burst that Taipei Snipers is able to put out?
Right, I'm quite curious to see how that will pan out for them. They do have that little flame potential coming in from Set here, and for TG, you'll be just able to hack away slowly with those auto attack range as well. You'll be able to somewhat harass Silver more effectively than before. And as we do see at this point of time, TG now actually having a slight advantage over God JJ, that CS department here.
Moving over to the top lane, Shyvana against Renekton down here. Shyvana and Renekton, this has been a very popular matchup since 3.13. These two have been part of the holy trinity of top laners down here, with the third top laner being Jax in that case. Both top laners get tanky really quickly and have lots of damage as well, being able to bully out most opponents in their lane. When it comes down to Shyvana versus Renekton, it's usually a very skill-based matchup, but who is able to get off better trade and who is able to trigger their attacks better to get off as much damage as possible.
Right, it does look like Wins once again going for this really early start aggression, and Wins now jumping in with the Venomous Bite onto Egg. He will not pay for his life there, but once again the early threat coming in from Wins just so dominating over Mineski.
Axel must be secretly cursing under his breath at Wins down here. First game, Wins came in so many times, killed him so many times. Axel must be really hating him right now.
Right, but he has to understand it's not really hate, it's just a game, and it's all in the name of fun and peace. But it is overall still a competition, so the best man will definitely come out on top. And there we go now, God JJ with the Tide Hunter calling, and the Aqua Prison just barely missing onto him as well. So a small trade-off for Taipei Snipers, but nevertheless, TG actually holding his ground pretty well. And actually we do see God JJ coming back with the CS advantage at this point of time.
Check out the movement by Elise down here in top lane.
Wow, once again the Cocoon now landing onto Snoy there. Does look like he might go down in the process, but the Ignite will take out he will take out Zonda in the meantime, and that was the first fly actually going to him, so extra 100 gold for him, and now Set in a bit of trouble. He will have to back up from that with the total discount rejuvenation once more, and now Exo trading back and forth against next ABC again. Does look like next ABC will be able to sustain himself quite comfortably, as he still has that one pot taking away on his end.
There's real composure there by Snork. He saw the Elise coming from behind, he didn't panic, and he knew what he needed to do to make sure that the trade happened.
Right, so Set at this point of time, Noel at this point of time, still not able to kind of respond to what Wins have installed for the Mineski at this point of time. And it does look like, because of the first flood that Snoy was able to secure for himself, he will come back into lane with the Giant Belt, and Zonda will follow likewise. It does look like it's going to be World of Tanks up in the top lane.
I actually think that this movement by Noel here, I'm not really liking it. When players usually go for volley bear in their competitions, they want to get off lots of ganks down here. But all the ganks that has been happening so far has been done by Wins. Once in the mid lane, he forced Exo down, he forced Exo low, and then once more in the top lane, securing first blood, force on down there.
Right, and now we do see Snoy and Zonda once again trading back and forth in this one, and got JJ and Mystic really putting on the hurt onto TG and Set at this point of time, and I like Win's choice of pickup here. He went for that early Sorcerer's Shoes, and that would just allow him to put on so much more damage, and it fits his style really, really well. He wants to go in there, secure those early kills, and then subsequently snowball his team ahead in that one.
Well, once again, Win's positioning himself at bot lane down here. We saw him go mid, we saw him go top. Now, will we see a gank happen at bot lane?
Right, so Win's is patiently waiting around the wings. And I don't think TG and Set might be able to spot at all. So once they overextend, he might be in trouble. And there we go. Set now caught in the cocoon, and the Artificer is not going to land. But with now still on the relentless chase, he could just go in and wait for the Venom to move by. There we go. That's going to be the kill. The exhaust came a little bit way too late. And because of that, Win's able to secure that easily for himself. And up in the top lane, Snoy and Zonda. Now Zonda getting caught on a little low. He has to back off of that. And it's a 3-man down in the bottom lane. They might look to take out this bottom lane turret very quickly. And once again, that's going to be the buffet strategy coming into effect for all the Taipei snipers.
Now Wins is everywhere, man. Wins is just everywhere. We saw him go mid, we saw him go top, and now once again he comes bottom and picks up a kill as well. I think this might be one of the newer hallmarks about the early game warding in the 3.14 patch. Because of the early game item purchases, supports, they start with less wards if they start the ancient point. And here we have a fantastic kill.
Oh, there we go. Noel flying in with the... So it does look like Mineski has something to say to this. They don't want their blue buff to be taken away, but they have been taken out pretty low. Will Exo actually go down the process? And Mistake will flash in for the auto attack. That's going to be one more kill secured on their end. So 3-1 in terms of kill advantage coming in from Taipei snipers.
Very well played there from the Taipei snipers. They went in, they judged their aggression well, they made it mash it, and because of that, they picked up a kill on Exo and got out of there 1-0.
Right, and not only that, you know, Exo actually put off a pretty decent shockwave down the engage, but Taipei snipers there, like you mentioned, just having the good amount of calculations, taking out the member of Mineski in the meantime. And at first they wanted to go in for the blue buff, but eventually they managed to pick out a kill in the process as well, so everything going in their favor. So propelling their goal lead at this point of time to a good 1.5k advantage.
Now Taipei snipers, they're starting to hit about 9 to 10 minutes in the game. The second round of red and blue buff will have come up and will soon go down on both sides as well. I think the Taipei snipers want to start to group up soon to start taking down the dragon.
Right, they might want to try to group up to take out the dragon as well, and it would fit their buffet strategies very, very aptly as well. But this time Snoy actually coming up on top in the trade in the top lane against Snoy coming out ahead against Zonda, and with the CS difference as well. And I think Snoy always has been that pillar for Mineski, even though his team might not be having the best of his performance, but he'll always be there to try to carry the team on the back of his shoulders.
Let's take a look at the itemization on both sides as well. We see Renekton against Shyvana in the top lane. Mineski is leading in that aspect, 87 CS to 64 CS, 1 kill to none. Both players seem to be going for some fun games. Hang on vehicle engagement here at bottom. Is there one?
No, there's not going to be enough initiation coming in from Noel there, and even though he had that boost coming in from Set, it's not going to be enough speed. And now Zonda bringing the hurt onto Snoy there. Will Snoy actually go down in the process, or will he choose to pop the Dominus to stay alive? Does not look like that's not going to be the case. He will back off, but taking a whole ton of damage in the exchange. And with Zonda now finishing up the chain vest as well, he will be able to somewhat trade even more effectively against Snoy up in the top lane, who has only finished up the Doran split.
So despite having a 20 CS lead on top of Zonda, Zonda comes in, drops the Dragon's Descent onto Snoy and completely wrecks him in their little duo there at top lane.
And now Wins with the Sweeping Lens will take out the ward in the process. So once again, denying vision away from Mineski. And it just suits their playstyle so well, like what Wolf mentioned in the last game. And there we go, bottom turret will go down for Taipei snipers. They will secure the first turret. And there we go, Noel now in the sidelines, going on all fours there. He will flash out of the way, and Zonda will be kept safe up in the top lane. And meanwhile, they knew for a fact that Noel was up in the top lane, and Taipei snipers making full advantage of that to go for the dragon.
So Taipei snipers keeping consistent with the game plan, putting their aggression onto the Mineski team and picking objectives at any opportunity when they can.
That's right, and now Zonda now having to face off with Snoy once again, but Snoy now finishing his own chain vest, now putting the hurt onto Zonda. And I feel like it's almost a back and forth, as we do see now TG getting caught out, way out of position, and the tidal wave comes in, and God JJ will be able to secure the kill with the boomerang blade. And that was a clean, easy gank coming in from Taipei snipers.
Once again, Wins is everywhere on the map. The moment they down the tower, you find Wins in your jungle. The moment you give Wins any breathing space, any space, he's gonna take it, he's gonna grab it, and he's not gonna give it back to you.
Right, I guess that's why he's called Win, because he's just everywhere.
I guess.
Win is everywhere, man. The win is just everywhere.
By the way, do check out the Yasuo champion background. It is really, really cool.
Right, and I will be excited to see him into competitive scene once he comes out as well. And at this point of time, let's come back into this game. As we do see Taipei Snipers taking out the bottom inner turret, so one more turret in their advantage. So 2-0 in terms of turret count, 4-1 in terms of kills, and a good close to 4,000. Yeah, it's about good 4,500 for advantage for them.
You know, Mineski must be thinking, how are we going to come back? Hang on, there's a duel here between Noel and Wins.
And TG will face off against Wins and slowing him down with the 90 caliber net. Noel looking to chase on. Will he go on all fours and he gets stopped in the tracks with the cocoon? And it does look like Wins will be able to fly like the wind and be backing off safely from there.
So Mineski looks to punish the aggressiveness of Wins down there, trying to catch him out in their own jungle, but Wins successfully disengages and gets out of there safely in one piece.
Right, it does look like, even though he's the Spider Queen, he's playing the Spider Queen, it's not exactly the most sticky situation for him. And now he himself is caught in the sticky situation with the cocoon. He has to flash out of that one, and that's one more summon spell being burned for him. And Zonda will be putting one ward to spot out the blue ward vision. And this is like deja vu all over again, the contest down at the blue buff. But at the meantime, GoDJJ and Mistake will take out the top lane turret for themselves. And when we see a full fight actually break out from there, with the bomb, the ultimate coming in from Zix there, it's not going to be able to do so. And Noah will be able to secure that with the smite.
So pressure coming in everywhere from the Taipei Snipers or the Mineski team. They're down the top lane tower, and next ABC tries to go for the blue buff, still with the Mega Inferno Bomb as well, but he doesn't get it. Nonetheless, top tower down, we'll give you your blue buff.
Right, we can give it the blue buff, and now GoDJJ now in some trouble against Snoy. Will he actually choose to go all in, and on the hunt now being popped, and Snoy, he is caught way out of position, and the tidal wave actually missing in that one. Noel will go in on all fours, but not going to be able to pick out anyone in the meantime. And look out here, next ABC is actually around the area. And it does look like, once again, Taipei Snipers, they are so good at doing this. They always group up at the right chance and the right opportunity to take out at least one global objective.
Taipei Snipers not letting about the aggression at all, gathering top, and with the Shyvana pushing bottom, the shockwave drops at top.
Right, not going to hit anyone there as well. So once again, Taipei Snipers taking away the red buff as well. They just want everything for themselves. What a hungry team for success this is. And Zonda now 1v2ing this bottom lane, and the exhaust has to be popped as well, and the Teller goes down. It does look like Zonda is one scary dragon game.
You know, usually bears are often depicted as stealing honey from the bees, but in this case, the Taipei Snipers are stealing all of Noel's honey. Noel is not getting any of his honey at all. Blue buff constantly being contested, and he just lost his red buff as well.
I was trying to zoom in on the expression of Noel there, like you mentioned. The bear is not getting anything he wants, man. I was trying to see if he has a sad face on his.
Now that's a very sad. Well, it's not really a sad.
He decided to just dance. Instead in the mid lane. Once again, Taipei Snipers now grouping once more. They know for a fact the only outer turret left standing in their way is the mid lane one. Does look like with the item advantage and all this little global gold that they have secured for themselves, they do have the firepower to pick it up. And that'll be a quick one for them, as GoDJJ will be the one taking that out. So 4-0 in terms of turrets. Taipei Snipers is just bringing their game to the table in a very efficient manner.
Now, Sivir with the Bloodthirster, that amount of damage, she just chunks down towers so quickly. We saw her down 2 at bottom, 1 at top, and then she just took 1 at mid lane as well.
And look at the amount of damage, and there we go! With the Aqua Prism now landing, and Wins will be able to secure that one with the quick chain of CC there. And now Snoy collapsing onto GoDJJ. Will he go down in the process? Noel now being taken down low, and the ace in the hole will take out GoDJJ in the meantime. And does look like Mineski might come out ahead in this one, as Wins has to flash out of there. So overall, it's a 2 for 1 hit, and it's not gonna at any time. So TG has to pop the barrel with next ABC securing the kill, and next ABC ABC with the flashy jump into the fray with the central charge, but eventually not able to pick up the kill onto TG. Quick reaction time from TG to splash out of the way. That will secure him some time. And now Set caught out in the world of trouble. Zonda will be able to pick that out for himself.
So now we see Taipei Snipers starting to press the advantage. Although TG might have gotten away with the flash there, nonetheless, Taipei Snipers were in there. They traded 3 for 1, and now, well, it looks like they're going to group up again to continue to pressure their objectives.
Right, at first, for a short period of time, I thought that Mineski might be able to come up on top with that team fight, but it was just next ABC jumping right back into the fray, knowing when to time his skill shots, and with that explosive minefield just catching TG off guard there as well, and he almost landed that beautiful central charge into that bouncing bomb combo as well.
So now Mineski must be wondering, what can we do to come back in this case? We went for a bit of a wonky strategy, didn't really work out for us. So now we find ourselves in a world of hurt now. We are down in objectives in all aspects. The second dragon is up now. How are we going to contest it, and how are we going to get ourselves back into the game?
Well, they do have to remember that they still have the threat of the command shockwave coming in from Exo. And if they are able to chain that out effectively with Noel, and you know, for Noel having that volley back pick, you do need a couple of items to be tanky, but in that sense, you still have that innate regeneration. So if you're able to make full use of that, you're still able to come out ahead in that sense. But for Taipei Snipers, they do have a lot of mobility, and with the Talisman of Ascension being completed onto Mistake as well, that's a lot more additional mobility being added onto them. So I think at this point of time, it's quite difficult for Mineski to try to chase up to Taipei Snipers.
And the Taipei Snipers pick up the dragon, they're pulling their goal lead further and further ahead. Now they are a total of almost 10,000 goal ahead of the Mineski team down here. So we see Mikhail's Crucible and Talisman of Ascension being picked up on Nami down there. With the speed boost and utility coming from the Nami down here, I think it'll be really hard for the Mineski team to try and find any focus onto God JJ in any of the subsequent engages.
Right, it does look like Taipei Snipers will throw a curveball onto Mineski at this point of time. They knew for a fact that everyone was gathered in the mid lane, but instead they decided to shift their attention down into this bottom lane, and next ABC once again taking the blue buff away from Mineski, and God JJ will be able to disengage from that with On the Hunt. And there we go, Tidal Wave, and TG will just melt down in the process. And Command Shockwave, 3-man Command Shockwave, that was a pretty decent one, but it's not going to have any zero little follow-up at all, and Mineski just blew that one right off the window.
Now this is a position that nobody ever wants to find yourself in. 10,000 goal behind and the opponent team sieging down one of your individual turrets. This looks very grim here for the Mineski team down there. We saw the command shockwave go off. She caught 3, Doriana caught 3 people in that, but there was no follow-up.
And now Noel trying to make something happen with the flip onto Vince there, but at this point in time, TPS is just so far ahead, and actually Floyd might take up Mistake in the process, but with exhaust being popped from it, it's not going to be able to have the sufficient damage to take anyone down. And TPS just marching into Mineski basically do as they please.
Wow, this game, I think this game is going to end in a matter of minutes or so here.
Right, it looks like that might be the case, but Mineski still are in the base, so they do have that little bit of fountain regeneration. And again, now Zonda will fly into the fray with the Dragon to descend, and Exo will not actually go down the process. And I think they overstayed here for a little too long, but the Mega Inferno Bomb will have that double kill being secured for them, and they will take out the bottom inhibitor as well. So they will be pleased with that march and that attempt over there, and they will back off from the Mineski base.
6 towers to none, and a 13,000 goal lead here from the Taipei Snipers against the Mineski team. Let's take a look at the items on both sides down here. Shyvana, 2 core items to Renekton's 1, Sunfire Cape and the Spirit Visage to Renekton's only Sunfire Cape. Elise in the jungle, she has Haunting, she has the Haunting Guys and Spirit of the Ancient Golem against Volibear's only Spirit of the Ancient Golem. Ziggs in the mid lane, Ateen's Unholy Grail, Rabadon's Death Cap and Sorcerer's Shoes against Oriana's only the Unholy Grail. So it looks like it's just trending across the board. The entire Taipei Snipers is an entire core item up against the Mineski team down here.
Right, and it's just because of the fact that they had all this global gold being secured for them, and this a fact of simply translating that into item advantage. And now we do see Set caught way out of position, and he will just go down in a matter of seconds, in the blink of an eye. It does look like Taipei Snipers might actually want to go for Baron, and it's just, you know, the cherry on the top of the icing as well, as it's just finishing up the game for them.
Well, they took the towers, they took the dragon, so let's just take Baron as well now.
Yeah, why not, right?
Yeah, why not, man?
Why not? Some more gold. Nobody complains about extra gold in the pocket.
Greed is good. Greed is good.
Greed is good, man. And now Noel, he has to run away from that one. That is, once again, a very sad Baron. He is such a sad bear.
Sad bear there is Noel. He went in there, he lost all his honey in this game, and the Taipei Snipers are running all over his place.
Right, all of his jungle as well, and we do see Taipei Snipers now going in for the last inner turret that stands in their way, the mid lane one, as it does look like Mineski will not be able to do too much to try to contest for that. And yeah, they will not be able to defend that, and Taipei Snipers now once again a 5-man group up in the mid lane with the Baron buff as well. They should be able to take out the mid lane inhibitor relatively soon, and it might be one more team fight for them as Mistake now pops the Talisman of Ascension, and Wit's going in as well, and what they did was to just scare away Mineski. They are so helpless even in their own base.
So Mineski in this game, they tried to go for an interesting strategy. Didn't really work out for them, hang on together.
Right, there we go with the command shockwave as well, but that's not going to lock up too many members in the process, and now Zonda just diving right into the fray. God JJ now on a rampage, and God JJ, he's so fearless going in, and you know, generally with Marksman you want to kind of stay right at the back, but he's not too fearful at this point of time at all, and now Taipei Sniper is now just jumping onto the Nexus turret, and that is going to be game number 2 in fact for Taipei Snipers. A very impressive victory. That's GG well played. Game number 2 going into the favor of the Taipei Snipers.
So now the score lies 2-0 in the favor of the Taipei Snipers here. 2 Taipei Snipers, Mineski 0. One more strike and Mineski is out.
Right, 3 strikes and they are out in this one. I hope Mineski, you know, they need to really answer to what Taipei Snipers have in store for them, especially the early game aggression coming in from Wins. They tried to ban him out with the Lee Sin and Elise ban in game number 1, but he just responded so quickly with the Vi, and this time around giving away the Elise to him, and once again he was just able to run around rampantly and, you know, do the thing he does best, early game aggression.